A little girl named Gwen had fixed a squirrel house on a pear tree near an old apple tree, said Daddy. Now, the apple tree was near Gwen's bedroom, and the squirrels could jump from the apple tree to her window sill, where they were very likely to find nuts waiting for them. When the days began to get a little warmer, Gwen hung just outside the window sill a little hammock and waited to see if the squirrels would dare to swing in it. Having all the nuts Gwen put on her window sill and seeing her do such kind things so often made them pretty tame. And, too, they appeared to realize that it was Gwen who had seen to the building of the little house. But the hammock seemed very strange to them at first. However, one very brave squirrel thought he'd try it and jumped into the hammock. Gwen was watching back of a curtain, and it was all she could do to keep from crying aloud with joy, for she was so pleased that one of the squirrels was actually using her little hammock. After a while the other squirrels tried it. Before long one of the old squirrels began to scold for all he was worth. Oh, he was very much annoyed, and all the squirrels stopped swinging in the hammock. They seemed to be paying great attention to the old squirrel, and Gwen wondered what it was all about. The old squirrel was the leader, and he was the one who always gave the directions and did all the managing. This, in squirrel language, was what he said. Now, don't you know you can't spend all your time idling? You are the laziest lot of squirrels I have ever known. Don't you know that you must get to work? This is the season for us to tap the syrup from the maple trees, and you are spending your time swinging in a hammock. It is all very well to play, but then there is work to be done. We don't want to waste our time and let all the good sap go, do we? And you really do want the maple syrup, don't you? Off they started to scamper to the nearest maple tree. Gwen put on her hat and coat and followed along to see what they were going to do. They got all the sap they wanted and smacked their lips over it. They enjoyed the work really, for it meant good times to follow, and they were glad the wise old squirrel had told them about it in plenty of time. The keys were all talking in their jingling way. I open a drawer in which birthday presents are locked up before the birthday has come, said one of the keys. I know so many secrets, all about presents and nice things for celebrations. I open the cake tin, said another key, and there is going to be a birthday cake tomorrow all decorated with candles. There is going to be a party. So I'll be used too, said the candy drawer key. And I will too, said the birthday drawer key. And I will too, said the key which opened the money box, for some little treats will be bought. We'll jingle tomorrow, all right, said the keys in chorus, for we are going to open up secrets and pleasures and treats for a birthday celebration. And the keys all sang. If you're a key, you can see, the opening of joys, for girls and for boys. It is surprising, said Mr. Robin, how many creatures forget that they're not the only ones who go marketing. Ladies go to the shops and they think they're the only ones who see that their families are fed. But they're not at all. Now, all of the robins go a-marketing. We are very good at it, and most of the gentlemen birds do the marketing when the mother birds are watching over the eggs and the little birdlings. Illustration. This is the season for us to tap the syrup from the maple trees, and you are spending your time swinging in a hammock. Page 73 That is so, agreed Mrs. Robin. The dear father birds are splendid about looking after the food for the home when we're busy guarding the nests and seeing that the eggs hatch out into dear little birdlings. And you always know where to get the best worms. To be sure, said Mr. Robin, and that is what I meant when I said that though we did not go to the same markets as people we went marketing, too. What a horrible thing it would be if people did come to the lawns and began digging up all the worms. Gracious, the poor birds would have a dreadful time. But they don't do that any more than we go to the grocery stores and tell the grocer to please do us up a package of potatoes and another of onions, and one more of meat which we'd order at the meat shop. It is fair the way things are divided up. In this way the lawns don't run short of worms as they otherwise might do. Some of the tree buds, said Daddy, were talking about themselves softly. We do so enjoy being liked, said the little bud which had grown the most. We love to be encouraged, helped along. But how can anyone help a bud? Asked a fairy who happened along then. The sun encourages us by shining and smiling at us. The south wind whispers secrets to us and we are helped so much by the secrets, for the south wind tells us such lovely things. And she promises us more sunshine, more warmth, more brightness. And then there are the clouds and their promises. They tell us they will not forget about the April showers. They never have, and I don't believe they ever will. And, the bud continued, it is so glorious to burst into bud and bloom again after a long winter when the branches of the tree are bare that we like to do it slowly and enjoy every second of it. Besides, the tree has been so used to being lonely that it would be too much of a shock if we came forth all at once. We just peep forth first of all and tell the tree that we are coming, for spring is here. Ah, how young I feel, said a very little bud. We all feel so young, too, said the other buds. You are all wonderfully young, said the fairy. You are buds, wonderful spring buds, and you'll soon be leaves. The buds came forth a little more and smiled gently at the fairy to show her how pleased they were at the kind things she was saying to them, and when they smiled a little more green showed. The grown-ups that day said, how far the buds came out today. They'll soon be leaves if they keep coming out at this rate. But the little fairy knew the secrets of the buds. Now when I say, the watch began, that I have to hurry and catch up, or rather try to catch up, I mean that my master has a foolish way of trying to hurry me up at the last moment. He waits and fusses and wastes his time, and then he wonders how he can reach somewhere on time, reaching there almost before he starts if he wants to be on time. Then I hurry and try to catch up to him as he seems in such a rush. And the trouble is I'm way ahead of the time he wants me to be. I try to keep up with his hurrying, for after he has wasted a great deal of time he does try to hurry. In fact he runs around all day trying to catch up with himself, and I run around with him. But it's of no use. He tried putting me way ahead of time one day not long ago, but it was senseless when I disagreed with every other watch, and everyone said to my master, your watch is fast. We watches must agree, you know, and so I just get nervous trying to catch up with the lost moments for my master, and the only thing, I think, for him to do is to expect less of me and to start off everything. On time. I'd like to tell my story, said Billy to the fairy wondrous secrets. People are always wondering what babies think about and what they are planning to do when they grow up, if they are planning to do anything or not. They wonder so much about us, and so I'd like to tell my story. I don't know about other babies, but I would like to tell about myself, if no one minds. I'd like to hear, said the fairy wondrous secrets. Now Billy was in a baby carriage which was out on the front porch of a little house in the country. Billy's mother was busy and so was Billy's daddy, but Billy, they knew, was quite safe in the carriage on the porch where the soft spring air was blowing. No one was around but the fairy wondrous secrets, and if anyone had come around the fairy wondrous secrets would have vanished quickly. I'm really a little girl, Billy began, though my name is something like a boy's name, I believe. You see my great big daddy's name is Bill and my mother wanted to name me after him. She couldn't have my real name, Billy, but she had everyone call me that, so it's my daytime everyday name, and my best dress-up name is Marianne, or Marian or some such fine name after my mother. I came to the world in December, said Billy. You see, fairy, I thought it would be fun to arrive in the world when everything was so exciting. Christmas was coming on and it was very gay and merry. I've had a nice winter, but now is the best time I've known, for it's springtime. And I'll tell you, fairy wondrous secrets, I feel as though it were all my own springtime. I feel the soft, warm wind blow over my little pink cheeks which everyone admires so much, and I smile and I croon and I make soft little singing sounds as the trees do. And I look around to smile at the trees and the bushes, too, and to let them see my blue eyes. I ask them if they think my eyes look like the blue sky, for the bushes and the trees are always looking up at the sky, so they should surely know. I can see the yellow forsythia upon the bushes, and how gay and lovely it is. The lilacs are in bud, and there are white blossoms on the bushes. Back of our house there are some waterfalls and they laugh and gurgle as they dash over the rocks, something the way I laugh and gurgle. I believe it is their way of kicking with fun. I kick with fun when my mother puts me in the wash basin every morning. The wash basin, fairy wondrous secrets, is my bathtub, and I splash and kick and laugh and have such a good time. I don't care if the water spills over the floor any more than I imagine the waterfalls care that they spill water over the rocks. They enjoy it, so do I. I can see the ducks and hear them quack, quack. I hear that sometimes they lay 7 eggs a day. The chickens and the hens and the roosters walk about and chatter, and one day a lady passed and said, hello, to a chicken, and the chicken got up from the ground most politely as a mannerly person would do, I'm told. The pussy willows are out and the skunk cabbage is in bloom. There are red flowers and yellow flowers and little star flowers. The trees are full of buds or little leaves or blossoms of different colors. There is a little turtle who is sunning himself by the brook nearby and who is an interesting creature, I have heard. He wears a shell over his back as I wear a little knitted jacket. At night I hear the crickets when I wake up for my bottle. And I believe these creatures all like the country, too. The chickens and the ducks say that in the cities they aren't wanted and they wouldn't be allowed to wander about, so they wouldn't leave the country for anything. And one evening I saw a moon in the sky. My daddy told me it was a moon and surely he knows. And over the moon there was a bright gold star, and I made a wish. This was my wish. That other babies might have happy homes as I have, where they don't want to cry, because there is no reason to cry. I'm well looked after, I'm never spoiled and they love me, so why should I cry? But what I'm thinking about mostly, these days, is of how lucky I am to have such a daddy and mother and to see the beautiful springtime in the country. Her name is Brenda, said Daddy, and when I saw her yesterday she told me that every year at Easter time she went to the head nurse of the big hospital and found out the names of all the children. Then she went shopping, and it took her a long time to pick out things for little sick children. She picked out for each child a big round chocolate egg which rattled, for inside it there were little sugar candies, also a chocolate chicken and a chocolate bunny. She always picked out ones that had lots of expression too. Around the egg she tied a big red ribbon, around the chocolate chicken's neck she tied a bright green ribbon, and around the bunny's neck she tied a bright purple ribbon. Then she put them in a little box and wrote on the box the child's name. Last year Brenda went to the hospital the day before Easter. It was far from being a pleasant day. There was a cold wind in the air and no sun. She arrived at the hospital just as all the little children had had their wounds dressed. They were lying in their little white cots trying to keep back the tears that wanted to come. Brenda asked the nurse if she could go inside with the gifts. Yes, indeed, said the nurse. The children would love that. The child's name in the first cot, continued the nurse very softly, is Elsa. She has hurt her back, and no one knows how long she will have to lie there. Elsa, said Brenda, Happy Easter. A little chocolate bunny, a little chocolate chicken and a big chocolate egg all said they wanted to wish you a happy Easter. Elsa opened her half-shut eyes and clutched the box. She opened it, eagerly. There they all were, and the chocolate bunny did have the funniest expression. He would have made anyone laugh, and his purple ribbon bow was sticking way up on one side with such a saucy expression. Elsa burst out laughing. Afterward the nurse told Brenda it was the first time she'd seen Elsa laugh since she'd been brought to the hospital. Then Brenda took the rest of her boxes around to all the other little sick children. And such happiness as there was in the ward. The children were just finishing their lunches which they had been eating in the schoolyard and were going back to their classes when what should they see but a bear? Oh, hurry, scurry, run, run, they all cried. Oh, what an escape! Some of them panted, when they were safe in a nice big barn down the road. But the bear was having the time of his life. Well, he growled, I really don't understand it at all. Children come to the circus and gaze at us, and tell their mothers and their daddies how nice they think we are. But how they did run. And I had come to pay them a nice call. Sniff sniff, what is it I smell? Continued the bear. And then he jumped around for joy. Goodies, food, wonderful, wonderful food, how kind of the dear little children. They really expected me to lunch, for they've left lots of food, and when I came they didn't want to make me uncomfortable by watching me eat. Ah, now, I have had a fine meal, a luxurious meal, fit for a king. No, fit for a bear. And the bear rubbed his front paw over his well-filled tummy and again growled delightedly to himself some more, saying over and over again, delicious, such a meal. But along came the keeper of the animals of the circus and led the bear back to his cage. For a circus was traveling through the country and when they had stopped for a rest this bear had escaped. But what a tale he had to tell when he got back to the circus again. I'm very tired, said the honeysuckle, and I'd really almost rather not come up this spring. But you are supposed to come up every year, said the hyacinth. You are like me, my dear, your roots are good and lasting. We don't have to be replanted from seeds every spring. Yes, what you say is perfectly true, said the honeysuckle. But then I am old, so very, very old. How old are you? Whispered the hyacinth in a very low voice which the wind carried on his shoulders. I am so many years old I can't remember. This garden I've heard people say has been kept just like this for over 100 years, and the house nearby is just as old, in fact, it is older. I've been here a very large part of that time. Well, said the hyacinth, then I don't blame you for feeling tired. I should think you would want to rest. Let them start another honeysuckle growing. You've worked hard enough. Ah, said the honeysuckle, that's just what you don't understand. I am tired, very tired. But I must blossom because of the people. What people? Asked the hyacinth. The people in this house. You see, I am just outside a window, growing on my vine, and my sweet fragrance can be carried indoors. Of course yours can, too, dear old hyacinth, though you aren't so old, are you? But I last all through the summer, and you are just a glorious spring flower. Then it's no wonder you get tired out. And you have to give the bumblebees honey. Your honey is very fine, I have heard. And don't forget the hummingbirds, said the honeysuckle. They love me, every bit as much as the bumblebees do. And I love them too. The little dears, but I must tell you the reason why I come up each year, even though sometimes it seems so hard. Years and years ago I was planted by a little girl, Mary Alice, who loved flowers and who could always make them grow. And above all the flowers she loved her red honeysuckle best of all. She watched over me, she gave me drinks, she dug up the earth around my roots, she made me so comfortable, and for a very special occasion she would pluck off a spray of my red blossoms and wear them. Now Mary Alice grew up to be a big lady, though she was never very big. She always seemed like a little girl to me, for she was so dainty, so small and so lovely. Her eyes were very blue and her hair very golden. But as the years went by each spring I noticed that silver was growing in her hair, and then one spring I saw that it was quite white. During all this time there were other little children growing up, and now there are some more. And I always saw my little girl, for I thought of her as that even when she was quite old, smiling at all the little faces, and the children would smile at her. Never scowls, always smiles. Somehow no one could have scowled at Mary Alice, and I don't believe she ever scowled at anyone. For when her hair was white, her forehead had no wrinkles. Every spring she would be waiting for me. There comes my honeysuckle, she would say. The last few years it has been very hard to come up. My roots have lost their strength, but I have come along as best I could, for I have thought of Mary Alice and her smiles. Last year she was sitting by her window and looking out at me. That honeysuckle is as old as I am, she said. And not long after that I missed seeing dear little old young Mary Alice and her smiles when I wafted my fragrance through her window. But one day I saw the other people of the house and the children, too, looking at me. The honeysuckle that she loved, they said. Oh, we hope it will keep on coming up each year, for it reminds us so of her. But it looks pretty old now. So you see, little hyacinth, I must come up, even though I am so very tired and old. We'll tell you a story, said the white lilac bush while the purple and Persian lilac bushes listened as did the garden flowers. We'd like to hear a story, the fairies said. You see, said the white lilac bush, we are all a part of the great flower parade. When the snow leaves the ground the crocus flowers appear and take the lead in the parade. They are like the drum major who leads the procession, but instead of tossing a fancy stick into the air, they lift up their little heads and tell the world that spring has come. Next follow the hyacinths, the tulips, daffodils, narcissus flowers, garden violets, pansies, and little daisies. They all are about in the same part of the parade, and when they come we appear too, as well as the flowering almond shrubs and many others. But the pansies, little daisies and garden violets blossom all through the season, so they're like the small boys who run along by the side of the parade. Almost anywhere, at any time. And after we go the flowers will still keep on parading. The lilies of the valley are marching now, and soon the dear forget-me-nots with their blue eyes will come. The rockets, peonies, honeysuckles and roses all will follow along, making a very handsome part of the parade. And later on the phlox, larkspur so blue, and foxglove will follow. These are the flowers that come up year after year and they are the ones which belong to the great flower parade. It takes a whole spring and summer and early autumn to see the whole parade. But it's worth seeing, and though we can't be here all the time, we're glad for our part of the parade. We are. And the fairies knew that the lilac bush was right and a parade of gorgeous garden flowers would continue all summer.